Hey friends, it's McCown, self-help author, and I wanted to make another YouTube video. This one about the first 90 days of sobriety, aka a real big make or break period for recovering alcoholics. Now, I like to think that the first 90 days can either go decently or can go very badly, depending on the person's state of mind, how they dealt with getting off alcohol in the first place. Me, I was hospitalized 6 days, total 3 in ICU, sedated, out of my mind, hallucinating, 2 in the general medical floor in which I could not walk. But upon getting out, see, I got help on March 13th of 2017. I've had relapses since then. But for example, March 13th of 2017, that's when I got help. I could consider my first 90 days to be there. Although I consider it more so my 90 days started the day I got out, because that was the day that I had the freedom to essentially make my own decisions and get out and do things and whatnot. My mother dragged me back to where she lived. She wanted me out of that environment, and she had cleaned my apartment and got rid of any alcohol. So I came out of the hospital and I came there. And the second I walked through the door, it was traumatic. And that was the start of it all. The hospital experience traumatized me. I don't regret it going to the hospital, but it traumatized me. And that was one way to start off your 90-day sobriety goal. And then after you hit 90 days, you keep going to reach a longer sobriety time, and so on and so forth. You keep going. You want to stay sober for as long as you can. But starting off being traumatized by everything did not help, but luckily I had a support system in place, which was ironic because I had stopped talking to everybody, but surprisingly people came to my aid when I needed help. They were not judgmental. My parents could have been pissed when I was in the hospital, but they weren't pissed. Even if they were pissed, they didn't tell me. They were nothing but supportive, which was so shocking to me. I did a few things. I got into outpatient rehab, and it wasn't your luxurious outpatient rehab that some people might go to like celebrities. This one was all walks of life. We had to do stuff like water the plants, vacuum, sweep, that kind of thing, take out trashes. It was very mundane tasks. And I look back on that, and for some reason it was beneficial for me doing that. And it gave me perspective because I was around other addicts. And even AA, who I don't do AA, but I always encourage it for people. And if it might work for them, then great, do AA. If it doesn't, okay. There are alternatives. I wish there were more alternatives, but there are alternatives. It was crucial that I did those things because, number one, it gave me perspective. I felt like I was the only person struggling with addiction. I wasn't meeting other people who also were in the same boat as me. Kind of helped. You would meet people worse off than you. You would meet people who were better off than you, as far as how they handled things. The outpatient rehab helped me because it also included therapy. See, currently right now, years and years and years later, I just rely on medications and therapy and being around loved ones. It's not easy staying sober still. That never changed. But I can manage it better. I can be around alcohol. I can be at a bar and not drink. The urges aren't that strong. But in your first 90 days, oh, they can be strong. So here's what you need to do. And let's assume you've gotten the help you need to, for example, withdrawal. And now you are starting your journey, your recovery process, whatever you want to call it. Here's what you need to do. Get your support system in place. It doesn't always have to be family. It can be a significant other, friends, for example, as well, family members if you have any available who would be there for you. It's important to explain addiction to them. In my book, and this is not an advertisement for my book, but in my book, I try to help support systems understand addiction, because if they don't understand addiction, how could they help you? You understand? So, and it doesn't mean they have to go and get addicted to something, it doesn't mean you have to go find somebody who's also addicted. It just means that they need to study up, or somebody needs to explain it to them to help them understand. Anyway, support system, number one, important thing, because you need people to rely on. Sorry, my blinds keep opening because it's windy out here. Bear with me. Support systems are important and critical because you need to be able to rely on somebody or others. Sometimes you're going to have really bad days. Sometimes you are really going to want to drink. And odds are in the first 90-day period, you are going to want to drink a lot, which is understandable. Let's see. This one's difficult, and I didn't like it, but it was necessary. Enablers. We all have had enablers in our lives. When I first got help, I had to essentially stop talking to those who enabled me for a while. I talk to them now, but I didn't for a while because it was necessary. And those enablers do not enable me anymore because I made it clear that I can't have that in a friendship, for example. But basically what I had to do was say, you know what, I can't be around you, I can't be friends with you, I can't do this because you are an enabler. Unless you are willing to make that change for my own sake, for my hopeful success in sobriety, I need to be around positive people who will not encourage me to drink, who will not want to have me go out and party or do things like that, which was a very difficult thing to want to cut somebody out of your life over that. But then again, this is your life here, and you have to take this seriously. And those that understand it and who are like, okay, I'm sorry about that, I won't be an enabler, I will support you. Good. If they refuse to change, then it's time to walk away from them. And I mean that 100% because your recovery process is crucial, especially in the first 90 days. I cannot even begin to list a number of people who have relapsed within their first 90 days. It happens. You see, the urges I had in my first 90 days, I don't have now. My urges nowadays are more like, yeah, I wish I could drink, and that's it. First 90 days, when I'd see somebody drinking, I would be craving it like crazy, almost to the point where I would start sweating a little bit, and my mouth would start watering, and I would get really bad anxiety, and this very strong urge to just throw everything away. Third thing, outpatient rehab. I always liked outpatient rehab because I could go home, like I said before. But obviously there are people who cannot afford it. And that's why I encourage you to look up any sort of programs available that could help with that. You never know if you don't look. Also, Alcoholics Anonymous. I've had my issues with them. I don't do AA, but that's my thing. It's not your thing. So if you feel like it would work for you, and I highly encourage it, I highly encourage you to try it. Only if you feel comfortable enough to try it, but I highly encourage you to. It was crucial, and it helped a lot for my first 90 days. My problems with them came later, but for my first 90 days, it was very helpful. So that is another thing. And a common misconception that people might have with AA is that all AA meetings are speaker meetings, which is where you go up and speak at a podium and talk to people, like an audience or something. It's not always like that. Those are called speaker meetings for a reason. There are different types of meetings. Like the meetings I often went to, we all just sat around at a table. I'm not good at talking in these videos. I kind of stutter and mix my words up. It's nervousness. But the other ones I would go to, we would sit around a table and I'll just talk. We would do that kind of thing. So when I was suggested to do AA, I assumed it was all going to be like speaker meetings, when in reality, they're not all like that at all. So definitely something I encourage. So last thing is to just try to stay strong and avoid triggers. Don't go to bars. Don't go to nightclubs. If there's a family event where there's alcohol, avoid it. I mean it. You got to. If you can't avoid it, you need to make sure you bring some support with you. Okay? So that way, people will be looking out for you. But still, I highly suggest you don't go to places where there's alcohol. I can do it now, but I've been at this for a long time. So back then, first 90 days, because really the temptations, your urges, are most likely going to be a lot stronger than when you were years and years sober, okay? I know the first 90 days can be difficult. I also encourage therapy. Yeah, I encourage therapy. And also, I know some people are against being on prescribed medications, which I just don't get that. But if you see a psychiatrist and they know about your history with alcohol and of your struggles, they might be able to prescribe you some medications that can help with, for example, depression or anxiety, those kind of things, and talking to you. You know, so I heavily encourage that sort of thing, to consider seeing a therapist or a psychiatrist or both, because psychiatrists are more traditionally about prescribing medication. Psychologists or therapists are more so about talking to you. And I'm sure there are some psychiatrists who also talk to you about things, but I feel like psychologists and therapists really focus more on that, of course. So definitely look into that. I was prescribed medications in my first 90 days, and I'm thankful I was. Because honestly, I needed to deal with my depression, because my depression was one of the big reasons why I drank. Okay? And just stay strong. I know it's not easy. I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you. It's going to be tough. But you do those things I listed about in the video, then I think you have a good chance of pulling it off, being successful and hitting that 90-day mark. And then as time goes on and you stay sober longer, it should, doesn't always, but it should, because it depends on the person. Some people struggle more. I've met people who have been sober for 10 years and the difficulty with them being sober hasn't changed that much. They've gotten better at managing it. So don't be discouraged and being like, no, I'm gonna fail at this. No, you can do it. Just make sure you put in your effort to stay sober. I know it's not easy. And I honestly wish you the best of luck. I'm sorry I'm nervous with these videos, but I wish you the best of luck with that. And I hope this video reaches some people. Good luck, and I hope my advice helped. Thank you so much, and have a good day.